teach an AI to be, let's say, more human in this case?
I think we, it's what you feed AI, right? It's what you feed AI. But I don't think that the future is only AI. I think the human aspect is also needed. And if you look at Leap in itself, if you have 170,000 attendees, it says something about human connection, right? We're still craving human connection. And I really hope that the future will not be driven by just AI or AI programs for females. Or I don't think this is what we want, but we want AI to help us to achieve better results, faster results, etc.
Thank you. Helen?
Yeah, I was just going to add something around the investment piece for
Yes.
women. Education is crucial to this. We have introduced master classes to prepare women for investment and to increase their financial literacy. And because it's one of the things when you get into an investment pitch, you're most of the time still in Ireland today, you're going to be pitching to a group of gentlemen rather than, and there isn't a female in the room. So being confident around the numbers, knowing your numbers, knowing the information. So we're taking a very proactive approach around education and in covering all of that so that women walk into those conversations empowered. They know their numbers backwards. They know what a term sheet is. They know, they've really dug deep into the necessary information that they need to know. And I think that gives them more confidence when they go in, because they're as good as anyone else. But I think many of them are not coming necessarily from, may not have worked for a large company or have come from a business background. So upskilling in that area is crucially important.
Understood. Mariam, would you like to add?
I am here.
Let's talk about, again, if you would like to add about funding specifically. When there is an AI startup, let's say, led by women, how in this case, is there like, let's say, the main obstacle for those startups to raise the funds, and how can we bridge those gaps?
So I don't know much about funding, to be honest. But I think to Helen's point, if you have the background and you have the expertise, and I think, as I mentioned, in terms of representation, if you have the mentorship and you're able to have somebody walking you through it, and a lot of time I think it's helpful to have kind of a women-to-women support, because there's an understanding of what challenges you're going through, then hopefully you get to the point where you get that funding. But again, as I said, I don't know too much about funding. I come from the policy background. But
look, it's a competitive world out there. And so we have to compete with everyone else to be the best at what it is that we do. So it doesn't really matter when you get into the room whether you're a man or a woman. You're looking for investment. I suppose at the moment it's not a level playing field. So we have to introduce ranges of supports, and a lot of that around education and training to upskill women to get there. And we've developed some terrific models. But at the end of the day, it isn't about, we'd like to see a day when we don't need female-led initiatives, and singling women out for different programs to their male counterparts. Because when we get out there for investment, or when they're going out to sell into customers, it shouldn't really matter. But in the early stages, we know there are challenges that women face, particularly around soft skill development, that they need to have in place before they can actually get out there and build globally scalable businesses.
And I think just to add to this, and this is just a more general comment, I always struggle a bit with these panels. I mean, I think this is a great panel, and I'm happy to be on it. But I always struggle with how much do we focus on women versus men, and what do we need as women, and what is a female, let's say, CEO versus a male CEO. And for example, the quota system, a lot of people say, to make, in a boardroom, we need to add in a quota system so that we ensure there's one woman to every 5 men. I struggle a lot with this, because I wonder, when is the time that we stop talking about this and we just continue and we support each other in the way that we can through communities and networks? And how much should we be talking about this? And I'm happy to have people challenge me, but I struggle a lot with this. And frankly, I struggled a lot with this panel kind of ahead of being a part of it.
So Mariam, I totally understand you, because I'm coming from Web3 space, and we actually see this very often when women are getting empowered to join the circle And whenever we have any kind of topics, let's say different panel discussions, and I was asked like multiple times, what kind of challenges do you see while working, let's say, in a male-dominated company? So I would never say that I was ever mistreated, I was treated not properly. So that's why. But at the same time, as we discussed it earlier, we definitely need, like in this case, maybe in some companies, be more, let's say, more diverse teams. And in this case, obviously, in Web3 as well, in AI, as we can see, the CTO actually of, as everybody knows, ChatGPT is a woman, which was a really interesting news for everyone who was actually looking for that, because they would maybe even sometimes expect that the chief marketing officer would be a woman, but the CTO is usually a man. This is like what we have in our imagination. So maybe in this case, also in our panel, we also want to prove that there are so many diverse examples. So it's not exactly, that's why we have to bring women, because there are no women in tech. There are more. I just want you to make personal examples when you can actually disprove all of this, let's say, movement, because you can say there are already a lot of women in your company as well. And this is what we are here to discuss, because LEAP in this case is also empowering diverse groups, in this case, women leaders in this case. So maybe you could also pay some personal examples, like with Women for Impact.
Well, I also struggle, Marianne. And I think Helen mentioned also some good points. I really also hope that there is a day that comes that we don't need women initiatives and we don't need women panels just to talk about these things, because, you know, I also struggle when I'm in a place where it's only for women, or a cohort for women, a program for women. I also ask my team, do we really need to say Women for Impact, or is there a day that will come and we'll say just for impact? You know, we're all for impact. And so, yeah, there are lots of examples. There's lots of names. We've launched several initiatives that include women in other programs. And so when we see, for example, female startups that are, you know, yeah.
Can you please tell more about those programs as well?
Okay, so the She Impacts program is a program we've been running for 3 years. It's for female-led entrepreneurs, female-led startups working on solving any of the UN SDGs and technology. And so what we've noticed is that, you know, for example, someone is really good in what she's doing. She's working in the mental health startup. We recommend her for other programs as well that are for everyone, basically, and not just for women. And so, you know, we try not to isolate them, to your point as well. And I think that's very important. I personally don't like to have cohorts that are just for women. But we're doing it now because we're seeing that there is a demand for it. And if it's opening up doors for women, then that's the way that we're going to take it.
Helen, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about a really exciting initiative that we have been running for 5 years now in County Donegal, which is in the far northwest part, a very remote part of Ireland. And we've been running the program now for 5 years. Our timing was terrible. We started in COVID and we had to pivot overnight into an online program for women, but we found the online version worked really well. The program's delivered over 14 weeks. We go really fast. And the idea over the 14 weeks is for them to get to a decision whether their business idea is a go, a no-go, a pivot, or indeed if entrepreneurship is for them. So I suppose what we've learned over the last 5 years is that we've had to kind of take a different approach. So we build flexibility into how we deliver the program. They take place weekly. We start the online classes after the school drop-off has been completed. We take a break when there are school holidays. We do mentor sessions in the evening times and at the weekends, because during the day, once the women have finished their full-time jobs, then they're home with their children and they're doing the shopping and they've lots of things. So sometimes 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night is the only time that they can start and have a conversation with you about building their business. What's interesting over the last, we finished 4 cohorts. We're recruiting for cohort number 5. But 70% of the women on the cohorts have built sustainable businesses. 75% of them have created between 1 and 3 jobs in their local communities. 80% of them have raised follow-on funding, and 95% of them say this has really improved their skill set. So it is a rigorous technical entrepreneurship process that we run people through very quickly for them to get to that stage gate of go, no go, pivot. And so now, after 4 years, we've amazing role models, mentors, some of the previous cohorts, buddy the new incoming cohorts. So there's a really a tremendous sense of community.
Yeah.
And actually the program won the National Diversity and Inclusion Award in November in Ireland.